Welcome to the Own Your Best Life podcast. I'm May Emson, your host, leadership and mindset coach. Here, we talk all things spiritual, mindset, business, leadership, and wellness for the modern seeker who wants to align their life with purpose and inspiration. We'll cover career changes, stress management, meditation, energy, intuition, and more. Each episode holds spiritual and practical tools to help you live a life of your wildest dreams without getting burnt out along the way. Ready to live a life on your own terms? This is the Own Your Best Life podcast. Welcome, friends, to episode number 96 of the Own Your Best Life podcast. So the trap we all run into as we start to take more ownership of our lives and our careers is the doing syndrome. We work more, we do more so that we can have and own more. Yet there's a ceiling to this more in the sense of time. We start realizing that we can't add more hours to our day. So then we have to choose. What do we want to spend our time doing? How can we still have more impact when we have less time? And today's podcast is on that very topic, how to do less but more as a leader. So the climb of the achievement ladder looks like this. Start somewhere, pretty much anywhere, do whatever is given to you and asked of you, say yes to everything, and the doors keep opening up. And whatever happens, just keep working. Work more than the people around you. Keep your head down, and at some point you'll look up and see that you've left people in the dust because other people just don't have that same work ethic as you. And you realize that this work ethic is a positive thing. It's a positive attribute. So you keep working hard. And what happens, though, when you are getting more and more requests and more responsibilities? Can you just work harder? And many people do. They rob time from their health, from their families, from their personal lives, and their future to pay for the now. And they believe they don't need, for example, as much sleep as other people. And I know, because I've done this myself, and I've worked with many clients who do the same thing. But what I know now is that this isn't true. Working harder doesn't always produce better results. At some point, you suddenly look up and you realize that you not only left other people behind who don't have the same work ethic as you, but you've also left parts of yourself and the people you love or could love behind. You've missed out on life, whether it is because you burned out and your health is suffering, whether you don't have the relationships that you're looking for, whether the relationships are there, but you don't know that people need you because they think you're too busy to ask for help. And this is when you start to realize that you just can't work harder. You have to work smarter. And you've known this. And you realize, well, I'm not lazy. I know I have to be efficient and intelligent. But this isn't as easy as it seems. Many of you will tell yourself that you are really efficient and intelligent because you've got so many systems in place. Your personal life is running so well. But yet, why do you always feel like you're behind? Why do you always feel like you're still missing out on something? And you just try to do all the things you've got going on faster, at a faster rate. And we feel the pace start to quicken in our lives, and we suddenly feel like you're caught in a trap of your own creation. You're constantly moving from one thing to another in the fear of missing out on something, of not giving yourself as many options or opportunities to achieve your goals. And this is where you will be the most challenged. In order to do less, you have to do less. Something goes. And that is true prioritization. It's the willingness to miss out on something and say no. And the hardest part about prioritizing is that we hate missing out. We realize that at some point you'll have to say no to someone or something, and we think we're losing something from the opportunities that are given to us. Maybe we think it would show that we're ungrateful, but everyone has a full life in 24 hours. Everyone has the same amount of time, and if we're not intentional about how we use that time, we're only going to do what is given to us in that time. And for many people, it's work. Work is given to us. Work bleeds into everything. And if you're not at work, you're thinking about work. And people say to me, May, I can't stop thinking about all the things that have to be done, even when I'm not working. Or it's even when I'm working on one thing, I'm not really present in this meeting or with these people or on this one-on-one conversation because I'm thinking about the next thing I need to do or all the other things that have to be done. And they keep working and believe that you can fill in the blank, once I do something, once I get there, once I hit this number, once I achieve this promotion, once I make this target, once I do whatever it is, once I get everything done, I'll take it easy. And there's a difference between the work ethic that is required to achieve your dreams and goals and the constant feeling that perhaps it's never going to be enough. And so I want you to sit with that. When I work with clients, I take them beyond the limits of their current thinking and even sometimes their current imagination to believe that there is no there. You only hustle and you work super hard because you think there, this place of being done, of arrival, of having this one thing done will be better. But true presence, being here, really focused, really devoting your time and energy, is what is required to be more intelligent and to create big ideas that will change everything for you and the people around you. It's how you really think smarter and how you multiply the level of intelligence you have in that one moment. And true presence doesn't exist when you're frenetic and you're rushed and you're trying to prove something to yourself and other people. And I work with clients to have a number one goal, and that is often the toughest part for them, to let other things fall to number two. And another question that comes up for folks is, how do you prioritize if things keep changing, right? What happens when things change? Priorities are great, but they're constantly changing, whether they are external priorities or your own. And I get this question all the time. And the real question is, how are we thinking and how are you thinking about your priorities? Are they so specific and dependent upon the context of the environment that you are in that they can change so easily? If so, you're not thinking about priorities in the most effective way. You're thinking about the how as a priority, not the overarching goal as a priority. So instead of blaming that things keep changing in the outside world on your lack of prioritization, look at what is within your control and doable no matter what. You can figure out another how, right? And so the ability to craft priorities and goals that are bigger and can withstand a changing environment is critical because it means that we can alter the way we get there, but we still don't have to change the priority. And so even if someone says, this is your priority, question it. Realize that maybe there's an overarching goal and that priority is the how to get there. And it's not that you won't work on the how, but you won't get so upset when the how doesn't change. So just realize that this one's nuance and that shift is what will help you feel a lot more free. What will help you realize that the priority never actually changed. It's just the how you got there is what changed. So all the energy, the work, and the focus still counts and it still adds up and you still achieve that goal more quickly and you still learn how to trust that even if you're working on that one thing first, you will eventually be able to focus on the next big thing that comes and the next big goal that comes and the next goal that you have on your plate that you know you really want to get to, and you will achieve that as well. So one of the skills of being able to prioritize is saying no. And that feeling of saying no is often very uncomfortable for people. It takes courage to change the course of the way that you've been working to say no. And yet you don't have a problem saying no when you know it's the right thing to do. So why do you have a problem saying no to certain people or certain things in your life right now? It's because that idea of doing less, you haven't built confidence around, right? The idea of doing less but more is that you are confident that the less is the right thing to do. You're confident that if you can focus your efforts on this one thing right now for long enough, you can make a difference, whether it's to your health, your wealth, or your relationships. And if you're someone who is empathetic to others, it might feel challenging to feel that someone else is suffering because of you, that they want something and you're not able to help them get it. But the fallacy and the thought error is that we think this quick fix of working harder right now and saying yes to all the things is actually what they really want. And not only that, that it's sustainable. I think of it as telling the truth. The little white lies. Like, it's fine, I can do it, I can handle it. That's a little white lie, right? It's honest and it's truthful to actually state what is really going on. And whether something is really sustainable, whether it's really something you think that matters. It doesn't mean that you lack the work ethic as a leader, that you don't want to help people out. It just means that you have a grounded sense of how to manage the resources you have wisely. And so I often think of this idea of big dreamers versus practical realists, because sometimes that's what seems to come into play. A lot of times the practical realists don't have a hard time saying no. And then the big dreamers are the ones who take on a lot. But they might also be the ones that ask a lot of people as well. So whether you're a big dreamer or a practical realist, just take note of this idea that big dreamers and practical realists often feel this conflict and this tension. How can we get the big dreams and the goals off the ground as big dreamers if the practical realists are pushing back? Or vice versa, how can we achieve these big goals and dreams without taking into account the realities of the current situation and what is likely to happen in the future as a result of these impractical decisions, right? That's what a practical realist would say. So we need both sides of the conversation to come to a no that makes sense. And the no never comes, and the no never gets negotiated, the no ever gets talked about because we want to avoid this conflict. So we don't say no, but it's more helpful to have these conversations. That's what's actually going to move big dreams forward. It's going to move the achievement orientation we have to become a reality. We start to ask questions and understand the answers to questions like, what does someone really need? What makes sense? Why are you or me or we trying to do this in the first place? Why is this other priority more important? And so these conversations that come about because you're willing to say no will elicit priorities, and they will reaffirm priorities, and they will clarify what you can actually do and how to satisfy the priorities. And if we never hold our boundaries, they don't exist. It's not other people's fault for continuing to ask you and your teams and your people to do more. It's yours for not letting them know that the answer is no, or maybe not yet. And so being willing to have a conversation where you say no is that first step to actually say no. And you can say it very gracefully, right? There are ways to compromise. And so maybe it ends with a compromise or a not yet, but at least your position and your reasoning becomes clear, not just to the other party, but to you as well. Right? So let yourself have these feelings of conflict, right? And this courage to have these moments where it feels highly uncomfortable as you navigate some of this tension. And it's good. It's really good. I think people often try to avoid conflict, avoid tension, so that they can manage other people's emotions, right? And this is one of the signs sometimes of this kind of more codependent, people-pleasing behavior, is the idea that you can control other people's reactions. So if you always say yes and you always do all the things, then everyone will be calm around you and you can control how other people are feeling. And again, this is where we start to realize that it doesn't work in the long term, because you either feel resentment or you either feel the ill effects of all the things coming at you and you're robbing yourself of your health or your wealth or your time in other places, in the relationships that you have, or even the actual priorities and the goals that you haven't been able to achieve that matter to you and have an impact on your career and your life. So, in summary, living your life with a focus on what matters most is what doing less but more is all about. And as a leader, you are being asked to do this exact thing, this thing that is harder for others to do. You're solving these kinds of problems, such as resource management and goal attainment at the same time. And this is why you are here. And whether you realize it or not, this is why you will also be successful, is by managing these kinds of conversations and these questions. All right, my friends, that is it for this week. If you are struggling to do less but more, and you want to learn more about these topics and how you can experience this in your own life, you can schedule a free coaching consultation today. And no matter what success means to you, coaching will help you get there faster, and it will help you get there more sustainably. We work towards results in every area of your life, whether it is time management, career and business, energy management, or your relationships. We can do it together. So if you've got some changes you want support in thinking through, you can book your consultation at www.mayempson.com/contact today. Thanks so much for joining us this week on Own Your Best Life. Make sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts so that you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, can you please rate and review on iTunes? I would so appreciate it. Share it with a friend, take a screenshot of it, and tag @MayEmpson. This helps continue to get the word out. For more show notes and resources, check out www.mayempson.com. You'll have all the links to everything you heard here today. Thanks so much for listening. It's time to own your best life.